And now straight to Ramadi. After weeks, that's Iraq, after weeks of preparation and build-up, Iraq's military has launched an operation to retake the city of Ramadi, captured by ISIS forces in May, according to the Iraqi military. The forces, who have faced sniper attacks and roadside bombs, have already managed to liberate neighborhoods on the city's outskirts. The center of the city remains under Islamic State control, with Iraqi intelligence estimates numbers between 250 and 300 fighters. Officials said that the militants are losing the initiative and suffering food and ammunition shortages. But it's one of the most important battles to try and get ISIS out of one of the most important areas in Iraq. Let's take a look at the following report about the battle over Ramadi. Break it down from there.
The Battle of Ramadi entered its next phase Tuesday as Iraqi armed forces stormed the center of the besieged city to recapture it from the Islamic State jihadist group.
Sons of proud Iraq, you brave men are fighting the battle of glory and honor. Your armed forces started their advance at 10 a.m. with support from the Air Force and the coalition forces.
The city, a major strategic point in the western Anbar province and only 100 kilometers from the capital Baghdad, fell into the hands of the IS after fierce fighting which lasted 6 months and ended last May. During the last few months, government forces prepared for a large-scale operation to retake the city. The new offensive was backed by at least 17 airstrikes of the US-led coalition. Last week, U.S. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter made a rare visit to Iraq and talked about cooperating with the Iraqi forces.
I had the opportunity to have a very productive meeting with Prime Minister Abadi, and also separately a meeting with the Defense Minister, and discussed with them of the United States and its other coalition partners to accelerate progress, the kind of progress that the Iraqi forces are exhibiting in Ramadi.
Though some attempts to capture the city have failed in the past, it seems that the Iraqi forces are determined to retake Ramadi. In the last few months, the IS has lost some of its substantial strongholds, such as Tikrit and Beiji. The recapture of Ramadi will be a major achievement for the Iraqi forces towards defeating the Islamic State. The next target may be the city of Mosul, the second largest city in Iraq, which is also under IS control.
Let's go straight to Erbil in Kurdish-controlled Iraq, or northern Iraq, if you want. We're joined via Skype by freelance reporter Mohammed Salim. Mohammed, good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
Ramadi, let's talk about Ramadi. Still in the hands of ISIS, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but the Iraqi forces seem to be about just to take it out of ISIS' hands.
What do we know at this point in time? Because this is not the first time Ramadi has been allied forces, so to speak, or coalition forces, whichever coalition that may be, are trying to take it away from ISIS. Where does it stand right now?
Well, it seems to be a totally different case compared to the previous operations in the past. This time, a large force of Iraqi military and also their Sunni tribal allies have been put together to take Ramadi back from ISIS. It's also interesting to note that there are no Shia paramilitary forces taking part in this operation, and it seems to be mostly out of concern from the Sunni community that they do not want the Shia paramilitary forces in the city. But the offensive seems to have been quite successful so far, and they have penetrated into the city, and the fall of the city is believed to be inevitable.
Inevitable. And that said, who is fighting then on the ground? Who are exactly the troops on the ground fighting ISIS in Ramadi?
The troops are the Iraqi army and the Sunni tribal forces. These are the people who the American military has been training for quite some time, and the U.S. is also really keen to have this combination of the Iraqi military and the local Sunni forces to
working together.
In the case of Tikrit, when the Shia paramilitary forces were involved very heavily, there were a lot of complaints from the Sunni community that the Shia paramilitary forces were committing violations So this formula of the Iraqi military plus the local Sunni forces is important also for any upcoming operation to take the city of Mosul.
In the future. Mohammed Salih from Iraq, I want to thank you for joining us. Paula Slier is still with me in studio. This combination, as Mohammed said, do we think that the Americans have learned when it comes to strategizing who fights whom in the Middle East, that this might be actually the case for Ramadi this time around?
Well, I can't answer whether or not they've learned the lesson, but certainly what Mohammed says is right. This is a very explosive mix of Sunni and Shia, and whatever happens in Ramadi following the liberation, because most people are saying it's just a matter of time until the city is essentially liberated, the government is going to have to carefully manage the Shia-Sunni relations. This is a predominantly Sunni city and a predominantly Sunni province.
And that is why audience and viewers, extreme Sunnism is ISIS, yes.
And that is why, as Mohammed mentioned there was the decision taken not to send Shia militias to help liberate Ramadi, because in the past they have actually turned against the local population and pushed some of those Sunni citizens into the hands and into the support of Islamic State.
And once again, the fractured land that is Iraq shows us that it's not going to be an easy battle or a short one. But looking good at this point, one would say, about Ramadi. Paul, I want to thank you. When we get